So, first of all, I want to introduce Mike True. Mike True is a local lender in the Denver market area, and he's worked with numerous people who've gone through the short sale procedure and had their home sold and then ended up buying another house down the road. And so Mike's with Oxford Mortgage. And so, Mike, one of the questions that we have a lot of our sellers ask is, will a short sale ruin their credit if they end up going through the short sale process?
Well, both a short sale and a foreclosure are going to be major events on a credit report. They're going to impact it to a certain extent negatively in either case. The foreclosure is usually worse because it's recorded as a public record. And anytime you have a public record recorded against you, it's going to remain there for 10 years. As far as a short sale goes, you're really only going to be impacted by the late payments that you have on recorded against your mortgage. Okay.
So if I'm looking at this, and if I look at the both of them, it sounds like what you're saying is the foreclosure is going to have more ramifications than versus a short sale. Is that right?
It will.
Okay. Interesting. Since a foreclosure sounds like it's worse, why is that? What makes it worse?
It doesn't leave the underwriter any room to give an exception to the buyer once they're through the foreclosure or short sale process and become a buyer again. With a short sale, there can be different circumstances that led to that event. Could have been a job transfer. There may have been a short sale executed with no late payments.
Sure.
Those types of things are going to lead them to be able to make exceptions and get financing in a much quicker time.
So what I hear you saying is that if the buyer, once a seller has had their house gone through a short sale, let's say because it's due to a loss of income, or if they had their payroll cut in half and they had to go through the short sale process because they couldn't afford their house anymore, when they come back and they're going to purchase a house again the second time, what I hear you saying, it doesn't sound like it's going to be as severe as it would be if they went through a foreclosure.
With a foreclosure, there are no exceptions. With a short sale, it does open that door for an underwriter to review the scenario that happened and possibly cut the time frame down and allow them to purchase sooner.
When you say cut the time frame down, what do you mean by that?
Well, the time frames for purchasing again post foreclosure or short sale, they vary a little bit based on program. We see a lot of people re-entering the purchase market with an FHA loan.
Right.
In that scenario, the waiting period is 3 years.
Gotcha.
With foreclosure or short sale. But again, depending, the short sale is going to open that door for exceptions to be made and possibly a shorter time period.
Okay, great. So, I'm the seller. I've got my home has gone through a short sale, and I'm wanting to buy a home again. How long do I have to typically wait before I'm going to have to look at buying another house?
Okay, and this is what I was referring to before with FHA. The seasoning period is 3 years for either foreclosure or short sale.
Okay.
With foreclosure, it's cut and dry. You're not going to get into anything sooner than that 3-year period. With a short sale, they are allowed to make exceptions. So underwriter will review, all that happened at that time period. And actually, we're not going to take it, that far. We're going to answer some of these questions beforehand and be able to coach along the buyer to that point, so they're going to know when they're going to be able to purchase.
Great. So what I hear you guys saying is, what you typically do with your buyers is you'll start putting the schedule in place, and then they'll know when they're able to go to the next step so they can go buy a house.
That's right, and we've shared clients that we've done that in the past, and so you were able to see kind of the process and not necessarily coaching, but making sure everything is in order, reviewing some things with underwriting beforehand so that we knew the time frame and we didn't get too far ahead of ourselves in the process.
Great. Okay, perfect. How is a short sale or foreclosure viewed by the underwriter? You were talking about that earlier, and you were saying I'd like to go a little bit further on that.
Yeah. Again, it's there is not going to be any room for exception after a foreclosure.
Okay.
The circumstances will be taken into consideration after a short sale. The actual events that happen in life are explainable after a short sale, but that door is closed with foreclosure, and we're just stuck with the waiting period.
Is that a lot of that due to the fact why the bank looks at that differently on the foreclosure? Is it because they didn't cooperate with the bank at that time?
Yeah, I mean, you hate to say someone didn't cooperate here and they
Right.
did there, but essentially that's what they're saying is they may be saying not every effort was taken, to make this transaction happen.
So bottom line is this, as we're looking at this from the seller's perspective, and now the house has gone through foreclosure, are you typically seeing within what, a year, 2 years, 3 years, when their credit's looking like they're repaired and they're ready to go?
Well, yeah, and the credit score is going to have to be there, and that's going to be a 600 for FHA, 620 for conventional. But yeah, that 2-year, 3-year period is where we're able to get people going. With conventional, they can purchase at the 2-year mark, but would need 20% down, and that's after a short sale only.
Gotcha.
With conventional financing, the full 7-year waiting period will be required after foreclosure.
Great. Mike, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for helping the people out here in the Denver marketplace.
Thanks, Joe.